All right. How's it going, everyone? And welcome to an exclusive edition of what I hope is your favorite baseball show here on YouTube. And that's 27 Outs, right? I, of course, am Ivan alongside Stefan. I know his face kind of already gives it away. If you don't know the name, I'm sure you probably know the face. But yeah, today is certainly, I would say, one of, if not the biggest interview here on the channel for us on 27 Outs. And of course, we have one of the biggest voices, I would say, in New York radio. I like to call you one of the leaders of the new school, considering the fact that you're still in your 30s, whereas a lot of these guys who we have been watching for some time now are up there in age. And no offense to them, but I think Stefan and I, he would be able to agree with this. We sort of relate to you to a certain extent, Keith, right? But yeah, let's welcome Keith McPherson to the show.
Yeah, thank you for popping on, man. Welcome.
What's good, yo? First off, man, power and respect to y'all. I noticed like when you're trying to build, I noticed like when you're putting time into something, making a brand, doing a podcast. I did plenty of podcasts before I got to the radio. Second off, I appreciate the compliment and just kind of recognizing where I'm at. I'm in my late 30s. I just turned 37 last year, but now this is my fourth year on the radio. I came in age 34. I came in pretty young for New York radio. New York is market one. You know, you're listening to guys on the radio on ESPN and WFAN that are over 40, 45, 50, Michael K over 60. So for me to come in with no nepotism, for me to come in also with no experience, it was unprecedented. And the biggest thing is obviously I'm a young black man. And when you're young and you're black in any industry, you're a trailblazer. Even today in 2025, because there wasn't many opportunities for us. There weren't many seats for us. They weren't looking out for us, especially if you weren't a former athlete like a Tiki Barber, like a Bart Scott. So, shout out to my guy, Ty Butler, who's on ESPN in a similar way. He's a little bit older than me, but like he didn't play any sports and he's got an opportunity there from the time that he's put in. Yeah. Spike S can put me into WFAN. I always make sure I say that because he's no longer the boss at WFAN. But if it wasn't for him taking a chance, a shot in the dark on a kid like me from the Jersey Shore that just happened to be hustling in New York, making Yankees content and Brooklyn Nets content, a former football player, a former college radio and TV major, then I don't know if I would have gotten to where I am right now with WFAN.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was just about to ask you, when you go up the social ladder, right? Does it ever feel like, damn, I can't believe I'm in this space? You know what I'm saying? Because there's not many of us. And I say us because I include Latinos too. Because I don't know if you noticed this, but there's not many Latinos even making baseball content. Most of it is, people who are either play the game or there's no really independent, minorities making this type of content. So when you ever go up to that ladder, are you like, damn, yo, I'm in rarefied air. I can't believe I'm sitting here. Or is it more like I was meant to be here? I just had to have the right opportunity.
Yeah, I would say in the beginning, like when I really started to feel that I was entering the television space was 2019. And I was, rubbing shoulders with people at the Yes Network, being invited to the Yes Network building. I had a couple commercials. I had a couple opportunities with Yes. It was super surreal. But then by the time I got my full-time spot doing nights at WFAN, I'm like, oh, I belong. And so you kind of have to turn the fanboy off. You got to turn off the admiring and idolizing, because your idols become your rivals. You literally become peers with the people that you looked up to. I put out a picture of me as a fan back in 2019 going to Hoboken to see a live show for the Michael K show with Don LaGreca and Peter Rosenberg. And like now I'm on a radio station where we're not even supposed to mention them, right? We're rivals in the city. So yeah, I'll say this. What also helps is like, and I don't go on air and say it, but I've gotten love from people in the industry. I've gotten respect from people in the industry, which like that lets you know that you're legit. When the people that you admire know who you are, when the people that you're on air with respect your hustle, respect your story and your grind, when they see you and they give it up, like that's the biggest thing. Because there's a ton of haters on the internet. If you read about me on the internet, you would think I'm trash. You would think I wasn't shit. But like none of that matters because I'm not trying to impress these random nobodies on Reddit and Twitter and Instagram. Like I got people in my phone that are former professional athletes, professional radio and television people that are like, you got the juice, bro. You got it. You're up next.
There you go.
Right. You know, I'm glad you mentioned some of the things that you've mentioned thus far, Keith, because I think the internet, plays a huge role in where you are today, right? And the reason why I say that is because for those who don't know, you've done some work with MTV. You've worked at Rock Nation. Some people might even recognize you from John Boy Media in the past. I mean, you name it, the list goes on. And you're still adding to that in real time as we speak right now. How do you feel like the internet itself and some of those comments that you do receive, do you believe that being big on Yankees Twitter and maybe dealing with it back then once upon a time was something that prepared you for, I guess, being able to shield a lot of those things away from like even bothering you now?
Yeah, you got to know how to handle it. I know there's a lot of people that start doing content and they're really hurt by people's negative comments. They're really hurt by what people say, so much so it might stop you from recording that day. It might stop you from putting out, like I literally just did a podcast with these dudes. I won't name them, but I was podcast 11 for them. And that was in like May. And they just put out podcast 13 and they stopped for a little while. And I'm like, I know they've been getting hated on. And me, what I always say is like, thank God for the internet, because I was doing social media managing for MTV, Fubo TV, Rock Nation. That's how I was hustling in the city at first, anonymously as a social media coordinator, then a social media manager, posting for these companies. So I got to read anonymously all the negativity, all the hate, all the stupid shit people say. And I kind of realized like, yo, this is just what people do. This is just the culture of the internet. This is just modern day times where people can write anything and they're protected by a screen name, by an app, by a phone. Like you don't know who they are. So it's like, you can't take it so serious. So when I did jump out of the window and say, yo, I'm going to apply the 4 or 5 years of social media manager experience that I have to building my own brand, I was prepared for it. As I gain followers, I gain haters. Man, one of the best examples I use is KD. KD is one of the greatest basketball players ever. He's not in the GOAT conversation, but he is one of the greatest basketball players ever. And he's very active on Twitter. And I've been following him from the jump. And if you look at any of his tweets, he's got the same haters under his tweets. For a long time, they were calling him a snake. For a long time, they were calling him all these different, and it was consistent. And I'm like, yo, if you don't got no haters, you ain't popping. It comes with the territory. So for me now, like, I love it. I never met a hater in real life. Nobody has ever pulled up on me at Yankee Stadium, Madison Square Garden, Barclays Center, Prudential Center, Fanatics Fest, Pinstripe Pride event. Nowhere. I have never been anywhere where someone's like, you suck. I hate you. Your show is terrible. You're unlistenable. All love. Most people approach me like this. Yo, can I get a selfie? Straight up.
Yeah. I mean, look, we get it. We even get it. We get it now. And that's when I tell Ivan, that's how you know you're doing something right. When your opinion gets people to leave comments and saying insensitive things and get you to feel like, damn, we really hit a nerve. Like, I made a joke with him one day. We just put a clip out a couple weeks ago, and I texted. I was like, "Yo, you got me lined up out here in these streets," because I was talking about how Dodger fans, Astro fans, they feel entitled. They don't understand how difficult it is when you're trying to critique them in real time, but also give them the other side of it, which is like, yo, you're still a good baseball team, but there's some flaws here. There's some flaws with your ownership group. There's some flaws with your general manager. There's some flaws with your process. Yo, they killed me out here to the point where like Ivan's like, yo, I think we got one. And we was just texting back and forth because they see us from New York. So they don't automatically assume, oh, y'all just two Yankee fans.
Yep.
Nah, I watch the games, bro. I watch baseball.
No, you're hating. You just hating because of 2017. That's why. You hating
know what I mean?
2019 and 2022. You sound like a hater because you can't beat the Astros.
For me, I have no personal dog in the fight. Yes, I'm a Yankee fan, but you said something at the top of this interview. You have to leave the fanboy side of it alone, right? when the Yankees finally win the World Series, I'll be happy. Me, you, Ivan will all be happy. But at the same time, you have to call it like you see it. I don't see the. I told him the other day. I was like, "Yo, they might miss the playoffs this year." Like you have to come to grips with this. Might not be go back to the series type of situation. And so when you tell Yankee fans that, even they kill you. Yo, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Yo, but aren't you a Yankee fan? No, dog. I'm a baseball fan. I don't have time to appease your ego. And this is the next question. Because I thought about this and I'm like, yo, so this Juan Soto thing pops off and he signs with the Mets, and you went viral for a couple days, Keith. John Heyman calls your show, and you make a joke. It was a benign joke. I laughed at it. Me and him, we both laughed at it. He sends me the screenshot. Me and him are dying, and I'm like, yo, is it really that serious?
No.
Is it really that serious? And the question I'm asking you is, how was it like being in the eye of that storm? And how did it feel watching Juan Soto walk into the press conference and dap up John Heyman as he walked by?
That was vindication. But, yo, John is just an old crab ass. Like, I don't know why he tweaked like that. And I'm waiting for the right opportunity to talk to him about it. Let's go backwards. I've been saying on WFAN, I went to spring training. He was in the media area, and I swear to God, as soon as I got to the media area, like I was going to go do an inning. I was going to do the 7th inning with Dave and Susan. But I've been in the media now long enough. I know Brian Hoke. I know Brendan Cuddy. I know Bob Clappish. I know Max Goodman. I know the reporters that cover the New York Yankees. Like I've seen them multiple times. So when I pull up with my credential, boop, boop, yo, what's good, Keith? Hey, how's it going? How's the family? Where you staying at down here? I'm rapping with them. And I look out the window and I'm like, yo, that's John Heyman. And this is March. And
March of this year.
Our whole thing went down in like November.
Wow.
So I'm happy, right? Because like I duck no smoke. Like I just said, I never met a hater. I'm always waiting for static. I'm waiting for confrontation. I was raised that way. I was raised in an apartment complex where you step out of the building, somebody might just press you, try you, do something to you. So you always got to be ready for that uncomfortable moment. And like I wanted to talk to him to kind of clear the air. And so I see him through the window and I try to get his attention. He keeps walking. But I know he's got to come back up here because he's got his MacBook up here, his notebook up here. This is where the media write their articles and hang. And so I go do my 7th inning hit with Dave and Susan. When I come out of the door, WFAN's got the like first door as it's like WFAN, Yes Network, the like sound for the whatever. I come out of the door and who do I see? John. And I go, John, try and flag him down again. He sees me, looks, bolts the other way. And I'm like, bro, wow, now I feel like I'm a bully. Now I feel like he's ducking a high school bully. Like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to see you. And when you go back to that night, my whole aim, and this is something you guys are going to learn too as you're trying to cut through and create content. I always tell people, create what there is not. Be different. Even running the risk of being lame, even running the risk of not hitting, even running the risk of ruffling feathers. You have to stand out and be different. I watched John Heyman do an interview with Michael Kay, with MLB Network and Bleacher Report all that week. And I felt like it was the same exact interview. So who are the leaders for Juan Soto? How much is the contract going to be? How many years? What's the AAV? What's Juan Soto looking for in a team? Blah, 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 blah. It's the same thing. So I'm like, yo, how do I approach this differently? Because like I'm on Friday night at 8:30 having this guy on, and I'm like, oh, I'm always clowning. I'm always trying to get laughs. I'm always trying to be lighthearted. It is not that serious. I get paid to talk sports. I'm blessed. How do I kind of bring some levity to the situation while the whole New York and baseball world is waiting to see where Juan Soto is going to go? So at first we started talking about the Arson Judge thing, and I didn't even realize it had been 2 years or something since the Arson Judge thing. That started to get under his skin. I didn't know that was a sensitive subject for him, whatever. Then I got to the point where I was like, yo, if Juan Soto signs for $750 million or more, you should get 10% of that. Like, that's a lot of bread. Like, that's a whole salary for a year. Like, And then like he started to bubble the minute I could understand that he wasn't. So the first thing he said was, "I'll never be doing this with you again," or something like that. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, John. Like, I don't need you to come on my show. And then he was like, "This has been a disaster." And I'm like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm serious." And I'm like, oh, he starts turning up on me. So I'm looking at my producer like, yo, just bang the phone on him. Because the way it's set up, I can hang up on callers on the screen. But when they phone somebody in, like I don't control that. And then next thing you know, I can't believe I'm done with WFAN. I can't believe it. And I'm like, yo, he's got to go to bed. Yo, good night, John. It's 8:30 on a Friday.
Past your bedtime.
He's like 65 years old. It's past his bedtime. Then I look at my phone, the amount of texts, tweets, shit was going crazy. And I'm like, oh, this just hit. Like, because John Heyman tweeted out, "I'll be joining Keith McPherson on WFAN." I'm guessing Juan Soto is going to come up. We also broke the Clay Holmes news in the beginning of that show. Like there was a lot of people tuning in and listening and paying attention. And when he tweaked like that, I can only thank him because his clout, and I literally introduced this guy on my show. Like everybody in baseball knows him. Like John Heyman's been doing this for 30 years.
Yeah.
Like I try to give him love, but another thing that I caught too was he was like, "You're not a journalist. You don't understand how any of this works." I took plenty of journalism classes to graduate with a communication degree in radio and television. I never was going to be a pen pusher. I'm too cool for that. Like, I don't want to be like you. Your job is going to be extinct pretty soon. They're going to have AI writing articles for the New York Post. Like you're at the end, buddy. Like you're not saying nothing to me. But I could tell he was disrespecting me. I could tell it was like he doesn't have any respect for me. Whether that's because I'm young, because I'm black, because I'm on the radio, because a lot of people think that I'm a fan and not really a journalist, whatever. I think that's how that all happened. And ain't no problem with me. I'll tell you this, the last thing before we move on.
Yeah.
At the holiday party in Christmas time, a month after, the CEO of Odyssey, I never met her before. She knew who I was. She pulled up on me to say, out of all the talk about Juan Soto for months, from the World Series to that time, like, where's Juan Soto going to go from October to November? She's like, you went viral. You did it. You peaked our meters. We were checking the meters. We were checking social media engagement. Like people did podcasts on that. People played that audio. Pardon My Take played that audio. A bunch of other people played that audio. And I'm like, wow, like my boss isn't mad. My head boss at the station wasn't mad. I actually saw him the day after, and he told me he called Heyman to try and patch it up, and Heyman was tweaking and bugging out. So, man, all is well that ends well. That came from me trying to take a different approach, me being different, thinking different. Like, I'm not going to ask this guy the same questions on my show. We're going to joke around. What I learned, you can't joke around with everybody, especially these old heads in the game that feel some type of way.
Because like you said, the spot's about to be extinct. And so that's why I appreciate the levity to the conversation, because we literally were having a conversation, me and him. I was texting with him that night, and I said, yo, this is before we even knew we were going to get you on. I was like, if we ever have Keith on, I want to ask him about that. Because I was sitting here rolling. I'm talking about crying to the point where, like, you ever laugh till you cry? That was me. And I'm texting, and I'm like, yo, this is why what we're doing here is needed. Because not many people are going to understand what you just talked about, how you were trying to bring a different angle to the situation.
And bro, not to cut you off, we are children of the internet. All the internet is, as I was just talking about haters, you read the comments, we're all cutting ass, roasting, joking, playing around. We don't take it that serious, but these old heads do. Did I come up with the whole premise of it, right? Like, I saw Mike Vaccaro, and Mike Vaccaro is another one on my hit list. When I see you in person, I'm going to check you, because Mike Vaccaro works at the Post and was like, this is libel or slander. He accused him of being on the take. Come on, bro. You think I'm like accusing you of being like, it's a joke that I got from the internet. People on the internet for years have been saying that John Heyman is a Boris plant, works for Scott Boras. It's so obvious. Juan Soto just didn't make the all-star team because he didn't have an all-star start to his season. And you already know who was on Twitter. I'm blocked, but I was able to screenshot this from somewhere else. you already know who was out there talking about, oh, this guy was snubbed. It was John Heyman talking about his stats and this, and I don't even need to go to the actual, but yeah, bro, all I'm saying is I took something from the internet, and more we're seeing internet life hit our real lives. There is a blurred line between what happens on the internet, because like even now, like, yo, we came from an era where like you got to watch your mouth. Like somebody will punch you in the face over what you say. Kids now are reckless. They think they're protected in real life. They will say anything to anybody thinking that it's online because they might be live or streaming it or whatever. Like, no, there are repercussions. So yeah, I looked at it as he's an old head. He doesn't understand that, like, I didn't make that up. I wasn't the first one to accuse him. And then, like, bro, like you said, Juan Soto enters the building on his press conference day, taps John Heyman. Jared Carrabis sent me the video. My boy, the Yankee librarian, sent me the video. I wasn't watching that press conference like that. They're like, yo, what is this? And I took it, and that video, I slowed it down, and I put a voiceover over it, and I was like, come on, what are we talking about, bro? And that video like took off on my TikTok and my Instagram. People laughing like, yo, you're 100% right, bro. Like Scott Boras is paying this guy to write articles and cover Juan Soto.
I believe it.
So with that being said, I do want to ask you another question before we spend a couple minutes on the Yankees before we let you go, Keith. So with everything that has been said thus far, right? How do you manage, working late nights? You seem to be pretty fit, just by me looking at you. It looks like you're in the gym. I don't know if that's daily or just a certain amount of days out of the week. And I also know you're a dad too. So how does dad life, WFAN, time for yourself, and I'm sure time for the wife kind of all fit into your schedule? And also, giving us time to do something like this as well.
Yeah, check the chat. I just hit y'all with a bonus because we went long on the Heyman stuff. It's funny because like right after I get out of here, I'm gonna go lift and then I'm gonna go get my son. It's all scheduling, it's all a balance, it's all priorities. It's not easy, but what I learned in life is nothing worth having comes easy. And I have a radio job, I have a radio show, I have a seat at WFAN that people would die for. And hey, don't get me wrong. There are times where I don't want to go rock the show. The Yankees get swept by the Toronto Blue Jays. I don't want to go in there and talk about that.
I was in there the other night. I was in there with you the other night.
I'm like, this is whack. Like, I'd rather go to sleep and just sleep this off. But it's a balance. And I always talk about, like, yo, my son gets up in the morning. He doesn't know what daddy does. He don't know what time daddy went to sleep. He wakes up. He wants to eat. He's running around. My wife, shout out to my wife, who I met in college and just been rocking with me all these years because she saw the vision. She saw something in me that other people didn't see, and she believed. And, she kind of latched herself to me and just felt like, yo, this guy's going to figure it out. He's going to be great. And now I'm proving her right. And so what I got to do every single day, like you even just said, about me lifting. I slept funny last night. My neck is messed up, but I'm like, I'm not going to skip the lift. I wanted to do chest today. I'm not going to do that because that's going to put my neck on the bench. I'm like, I think I'm going to just do some arms. But like, it's important to me to be in shape because a lot of my counterparts are not. A lot of the other guys that you see on the radio are fat. A lot of the other guys on the radio couldn't do anything with a baseball, basketball, football. I can. And like, it's just a leg up. So it's one thing to be able to talk it, which I think I'm pretty well spoken and knowledgeable. And I don't claim to be the most well spoken and knowledgeable, but I do claim to be a former athlete. I was a Division I college football player. I did win a state championship playing quarterback coming out of high school. And I do stay fit, actively running and lifting. And I think it goes a long way when people see me standing next to my counterparts on WFAN. Most of these guys are old, bald, fat. No disrespect to them, because that's the same thing over at ESPN Radio too. But me, like, I'm gonna keep my hair long. I'm gonna keep my fade. I'm gonna keep my, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep the physique as long as I can because I just know it gives me a little bit of an advantage.
There you go. I gotta ask because we're about to get into the Yankees, but I gotta ask you this one thing. When I mentioned Section 203, what does that mean to you?
The gang, the fam, La Familia. Often imitated, never duplicated, misunderstood. I just saw the Mets trying to troll the Yankees with their, big screen where they seen a Yankee fan. They put a little air bubble and it said, you know, roll call as a grown man is embarrassing. Nah, I've talked to players. I remember I did an interview with Slade Heathcock, and he was talking about how like that's a rite of passage, like to hear your name chanted, your family name for your family to hear that chant in Yankee Stadium, right? He's from Oklahoma. For people back home to watch his game and hear that roll call, it means something. Judge talks about how it means something. All of them, it means something too, because it's the bleacher creatures basically saying, yo, we're here. We got your back. Let's ride. Like, we're rocking with you. And we don't chant anybody's name really during the game. We might hit you with an MVP or something like that. But it's just like, when I say often imitated, never duplicated, they've done it in Philly. They've done it in San Diego. They've done it in Wrigley. They've done it in Texas. One off. That roll call goes off every single home game because there is a family, a fraternity of people that make sure that it actually happens for years, for decades. And I'm honored to be a part of that group. I'm honored to be a voice for that group on the radio and social media, because when I started running with them, I did not know I was going to have followers. When I started running with them, I did not know I was going to be on the radio. What happened was, I started going to games by myself because I was working at MTV, Fubo TV, Rock Nation, where I'm in Midtown after taking the bus up from the Jersey Shore. And if the Yankees are playing that night, am I going to carry my ass all the way back to Jersey to watch the game when I could buy a $25 ticket, get in the building and watch, and then take the bus home and go home later? This is when I was a little younger and didn't have a wife and didn't have a kid. So like pulling up to the stadium, 203 was always the most lit. And I just kind of would weasel my way into the section, sneak in the section, and I started seeing the same people over and over again. And they kind of brought me in around 2018, 2019. And I still pull up and I still rock with them, and I still, show love to the creatures. I don't get to sit there as often as I used to, where like I kind of chilled on repping that, just because there is like an actual fraternity of them that they only sit there. They are there for 9 innings, and they are there for some of them 60, 70, 80 games. But yeah, when you say 203 to me, I know what people on the outside don't know, that the bleacher creatures aren't some kind of mythical creatures. It's a family and a fraternity of diehard Yankee fans that bleed pinstripes.
That's crazy, because I was just 2023. I had season tickets. I was in 203 that whole year. So when you talk about the fraternity, the family,
You saw it.
I was there, right? And a funny story for you. You were coming up the steps one day.
Okay.
And I was sitting there, and I'm like, yo, that's Keith McPherson. And I told my boy, I was like, yo, try to stop him because I want a picture. And by the time he went to go get you, you had already passed by.
Yeah.
And every time I see you at the stadium now, because me and this guy went to 2 playoff games last year. I went to 2 playoff games with somebody else. So I'm always there every October. And I was like, the one person I want to see in this building was you. And I'm like, damn, how the hell do I get to the section? Because you seem like a cool dude. And so you ever sit there and go, damn, yo, like my voice holds weight, not only in Yankee universe, which obviously it does, because go follow this guy during a Yankee game. It's an experience. But you ever sit there and be like, yo, I'm known on WFAN. I'm also known from a Yankee fan standpoint, where when I speak, people pay attention. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's divine. I'm a God-fearing man. I believe in God. I believe that, everything is destined. The universe never unconnects. And like, we all go these certain paths and ways. And I feel like that was God's plan for me. It's so much deeper than just where I'm at right now. Like growing up, nobody took me to the ballpark. I didn't go to a game with my dad until I was 23. I didn't go to a game with my mom until I think I was 33. And I brought them. I was in the MLB fan cave in 2014, which was like winning a sweepstakes. It was a casting call, but out of 25,000 applicants, they chose me to represent the Yankees in Derek Jeter's final season. So right there, I'm like, oh, I'm lit. And like, I'm the kid that people used to see at Monmouth University with a blue Yankee cap on every day in class. I'm giving a presentation in front of the class with my Yankee fitted on. Like, I was really like that. For me to become the guy that came from the shore to the city and navigated his way to be on MLB Network as a fan, right? Like, I was on MLB Network on off base, not as a former player like Xavier Scruggs, not as a reporter like Hannah Kaiser, and not as a TV professional like LG. Lauren Gardner. They put me on there because they're like, yo, this is a fan. Like, this is the voice of the fans. And I was also on the fan. For me to get that opportunity to be on the fan at night after the Yankee games, it's just real. I have a vlog coming out right now from the Subway Series where I say, yo, what other media personality could you see out here bopping around, dapping up people on the street? Like I walk this path out here because I've always done it, and I can always go back to it no matter how, you know, successful I potentially become or what I do. It's just authentic. It's real. So yeah, there are times where I sit in 203 and I think back to being drunk out there, blacked out there, like nobody knowing me. Like I've been out there, man. I was out there and only knew a couple people, and I just think about the journey, and I just think there's so much further to go. And I know, like, even like the New York Yankees brass, they rock with me because they're like, yo, we got one with this guy. Like, we got a cool fan that knows the culture, knows the vibes, and can speak to it in a way that some of these other dudes can't. They just don't know. Like, they go to a handful of games a year and they never sit where the like real fans are. I'm blessed, man. My course, it was God's plan. Like, it just, all these things that connected for me through me being me, divine. I'm a black dude, right? Nobody was cutting on the Yankee game for me growing up. They weren't putting that on at barbecues or birthdays or family functions. The TV got me, bro, because they won. So just like the first year I started playing baseball was after the 96 World Series because they won. I wanted to roll with the winners. I'm like, yo, like, I'm seeing newspapers. I'm seeing people wearing Yankees World Series stuff. I'm like, I want to play. I want to watch the games. My mom was like, okay, cool. I'll sign you up for baseball. I'll take you to baseball camp. I'll buy you this stuff. But like, really, that was just TV. Like, being able to watch the Yankees on TV is what got me, and it motivated me. And like, to me, New York was the Yankees. When I got my job in New York, I'm like, okay, I'm closer now to the stadium I'm going to go. And putting myself in that stadium when I had $25 available in my account to now, like, it just, I don't know. It's just crazy how much it's given me. You get what you put in, I guess.
Yeah. So I know we're already at the 32-minute mark. Could you give us like 5 more minutes? Maybe?
Yeah. I always run long, especially with these type of things, because it's going to give you things to clip and put out. And I hate when I'm interviewing people and they just are like, oh, so, you know, what was your experience like in the bleachers? It was cool.
Right.
I can't do that.
So I kind of feel like in the time that we've had you on thus far, we've gotten, I would say, some sort of a visualization, right, of a younger Keith, as you mentioned, playing sports when you were younger, started playing baseball after the 96 World Series. You played D1 football, leading up to where you are now. And as I said at the top of this interview, like, some people know you from WFAN. They may not even know what you look like. Isn't that kind of crazy that some people don't know what you look like, but may be able to put your voice to the name if the two came together, right? Which is, I would say, extraordinary. But I also want to ask you about something that it seems like you're pretty serious now. And not to say that you weren't serious about this at all, but when it comes to the McPherson brand, right? Like, obviously, you are already, you know, a brand in itself, you know, considering everything that you've done over the years. But now it seems like, you know, you're doing something aside from people listening to you, you know, late nights, right? Aside from you being booked wherever it is that you have to appear nowadays. So talk to us about that. And also, where do you see the McPherson brand, you know, eventually becoming or turning into a couple of years from now?
Yeah, so these are all just things I learned. The first part about my voice and the radio, there are old heads that listen to the radio that would know my voice in 5 seconds of me talking, but they're not on TikTok, they're not on YouTube, they're not on Instagram. And I knew this would be something that would grow my name, my influence, my brand in a different way, because WFAN has got a crazy reach. That radio station can be heard on the AM dial as north as Maine, and some places down south, like even like as far as like Georgia. Somebody told me they were able to pick up the signal in parts of Orlando. Like WFAN's got a powerful reach because of how long it's been in New York City. So that's not lost on me that, hey, like 4 years of this voice of me. That's why I tell my stories, and I tell my stories over and over again. I'm like, people are hearing this, they're learning about me, and this is going to stay with them. I mean, I went to dinner, and I always tell the story. I went to dinner for Valentine's Day, and this dude was sitting next to me. And when he gets up and is done with his bill, he's like, I just wanted to shake your hand, man. I heard your voice. I knew exactly who you were. Like, it's powerful to have your voice introduce you or your voice announce you. Like, I got to keep it low. I can't talk in the grocery store. I can't talk in certain settings too loud because someone's gonna be like, and that's the power of the radio. Now, as far as my brand, this is what I learned I had to do. Nobody's gonna do for you like you do for yourself. And so my first couple years in the radio, you know, I'm hoping that WFAN posts me. I'm hoping that WFAN does like endorsement deals for me and sells me whatever. And what I learned, and no disrespect to them, it is what it is. I'm a nighttime host. The start of my show is a moving target. And traditionally, they have sold the morning show, midday, and afternoon. That is their bread and butter. The nighttime is good to have, but at the same time, there isn't as much of a marketing component. So I started marketing myself. I also signed with 2 different agents that were duds, that were lames, that did not work for me the way that I wanted them to work for me. One agent I signed with, I could just tell they were on BS. You know, their pitch was better than their performance. These are things you got to learn navigating the industry. New York City, it's like they will come in and tell you, you're going to be this and that, and this is what we could do for you. Sign right here on the dotted line. And then after you sign, you can't get them on the phone. After you sign, you can't get them to do anything for you. And you realize, oh, it's kind of like, I don't know if you guys are hip hop heads or just music heads in general. When artists start bubbling and they sign to a major label and then you don't hear from them again.
Mm-hmm.
It's because they wanted to claim them so that nobody else could blow them up. But once they claim them, they're like, yeah, but we already got the bigger artists that we got to tend to, and you're just on the shelf.
Right.
That's what happened to me for 2 years, from 2022 to 2024. Then I signed with another agency that I also realized, oh, they just want to come in and get their cut off my contract negotiation. Forget about it. I could do that on my own. I'm smart enough to read the contract. I'm smart enough to speak for myself. And better yet, boom. Now I'm starting McPherson Brand LLC. I have my own company, brand, and business. McPherson Brand LLC now breaks into a website, a YouTube channel, merch. And then whenever I do business on the side, I don't have to say to WFAN, hey, can you guys broker this deal for me? I don't have to go to an agent and be like, hey, can you guys? I'm brokering my own deals. I am reading my own contracts. I am signing everything. And it is coming through McPherson Brand LLC. So where do I see it going in the future? Wherever I go. WFAN could fire me tomorrow, and I'm ready to I'm ready to be my own businessman. WFAN could promote me tomorrow, and I'm still going to be pushing my own stuff. And what I just learned is you got to have your own. You got to have your own IP. That's why you guys are seeing me now with these live streams. I wasn't doing that in the beginning. I was not live streaming in the beginning, and I felt some kind of way because I'm like, yo, Boomer and Gio are on TV in the morning. They live stream the midday show on Twitch.
Tiki and Evan got
on SNY in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And I'm not the best looking guy, but I'm like, yo, I'm kind of good looking. I should be on video. Y'all have a video of me. The cameras are on in here, right?
Yeah.
They don't have someone to service it. These things take money and manpower. They would need somebody to, moderate the chat and edit and clip those videos and run that type of stuff. So I said, okay, boom. Same way we're on StreamYard. All right, I'll pay for a little StreamYard account, write it off under McPherson Brand LLC. I'll start streaming. I even got to the point where I was like, okay, boom. My YouTube channel used to be my Talking Nets podcast channel that I started under John Boy. But when I left John Boy, I made sure to get in writing that I own Talking Nets. I started it. I built it out. You guys aren't interested in any way. It comes with me. So that was a monetized YouTube channel with Nets content. The Nets fell off. I didn't fall off. I kept going. So I rebranded it from Talking Nets to McPherson brand. Now I'm putting out content about my life, content about long form content about, you know, my journal entries from 2018, 2015. I'm reading comments from negative haters and responding to them on a video, you know, all that type of stuff I'm building out, because I just realized where the future is going. The future is going to the creators. Like, you guys have this 27-ounce podcast content, all of this, like, you're starting it now. And what I'm doing is giving you some time to kind of put a stamp of validity on you. Like, boom, these guys reached out, they got Keith McPherson. And what I hope is that somebody else with some credibility comes in, and then you build that. And then before you know it, you got 20 people in media that joined you. And then you can leverage that into advertisements. You can leverage that into live shows. You can build a business off that. So,
yeah. So, Stefan, I know you want to ask another question. I have one last one as well.
Yeah, I have one more.
I know you just talked about the brand, so I just want to remind people who are still watching, if you've gotten this far, in the description down below, we do have Keith's website. He's got all his social media there. As he mentioned, his merch as well. And also, aside from that, if you just want to keep up with him, period, right? I think that's the whole purpose of having a website as well. But go ahead, Stefan.
My final thing, and this is a fun one. My final thing was, if you had a message for younger Keith, what would you tell him? And if you're looking at content creators who are just starting out, like us, but we've been doing this for 10 years. Like, I've known this guy. We've been doing iterations of this show for 10 years.
Yeah.
But if you had a message for younger content creators who are just starting to find their voice, so to speak, what would you tell them?
For younger me, don't doubt yourself. Not even for a minute. Don't question yourself. Trust God. Trust God's like path and plan for you and your abilities, your skill set. You are going to win. Because there were a lot of times when I was younger, I thought I was messing up my career. I thought I was losing. I thought I was failing. I thought I sucked. I thought I wasn't cut out for it. I did listen to some people that like, yo, you think you're this, you think you're that, you're nothing. And like, that slows down your progress. Like, don't for a second trip. Don't for a second underestimate yourself. Don't for a second think that you're not good enough. Of course you are. Now, for young content creators now, I'm telling all these kids, every day I get a message on LinkedIn from somebody, hey, Mr. McPherson, nice to connect with you. Nice to, you know, like, I'm a big fan. I follow you. Sorry, my cat is in the way here.
I know what it's like. I got 3 of them.
Yeah. Come here, yo. She just mad needy. She want my time. I'm doing something.
What's her name? You said Toon?
I call her Toon. So my wife adopted the cat when I started doing the radio at night, because she's like, I don't want to be here alone at night. She called her Luna. And so I started calling her Luna Tuna. And then that turned into Toonie. And then Lil Wayne is Lil Toonchi, aka Toon. So now I just call her Toon. You know how it is with pets. Like, you give them multiple nicknames and then one sticks. So now I just
sticks. Right.
Toon. I got to make her a TikTok page where I do some voiceovers of what she's thinking. But yeah, younger content creators and people, build your own. Because I got all these people telling me they want to break into WFAN. WFAN is 38 years old. It'll always be around. But like, it is not going to be ever what it was in the heyday of Mike and Mad Dog. Build your own. You don't need to break into Fox or ESPN or WFAN or CBS or one of these pillars, because what's happening now is traditional media is looking to social media, new media for their next stars. So you can be appealing by building your own channel. If you got it, people will come. If you got it, you will start to see an increase in your views and your followers. If you don't, that's because you're not doing something right. So what I tell people is like, stop trying to like submit your resume. I had a kid today. Yo, I just revamped my resume. Can I send you my resume? No. Like, and I got you, bro. Like, and I appreciate you. And like, I got your back, but I haven't edited my resume in 5 years. And I'm not in hiring. I don't read resumes. What I'm telling you is, all right, that resume is good. F that resume, bro. Use the internet to show the world who you are. People are watching. Like, that resume is old school, bro. Like, I got told him that I'm like, I don't need a resume now. My name speaks for itself. Like, if I died today, knock on wood.
Come on now, man.
There are hundreds of videos of who Keith McPherson is. And in 10 years, they could recreate me. Like, there's enough of my voice, my energy, my story online that in 10 years, when they start making, like, they could do a whole YouTube off of, oh, we can recreate Keith and he could be talking about the news stories of today. So what I'm telling everybody is stop with that old, oh, I got to send a cover letter, resume, I got to apply to jobs. No, if you get jiggy out here and you put out enough dope content, people will find you.
That's right. Get to work. Stefan and I, we always talk about that, you know, behind the scenes, because as he said a few minutes ago, you know, and I also said this to you, Keith, when I reached out to you to be here with us today, is we met in college, right? You know, we were both journalism majors in college. You know, we met through college radio, and 27 Outs became a thing in 2016, right? And obviously it took some time because now we're doing it how we're doing it now, but we're only a year and a half into that, right? But of course, you know, we're trying to go 3, 5, 7 years and beyond that. So the one thing that we've noticed now, especially with the year and a half that we have put into creating content for YouTube, now we're on TikTok, on Instagram. We've noticed that you just got to get to work. Like if you want to be able to have people engage, as Stefan said, you know, I create clips and sometimes people think that we're crazy, right? And rather than getting at us, we have people in the comment section arguing amongst each other about something that we said. So yeah, I definitely understand what you mean when you're speaking to the younger demographic about, like, instead of trying to go the old school route, just put yourself out there, you know, and somebody will eventually stumble upon you if they really want you for whatever it is that they're looking for.
Deliver. Like I said, I did a podcast for these guys. I was podcast 11 a couple months ago, and they just put out podcast 13. And I saw them. They're like, "Yo, it's good to be back." And I'm like, "Good to be back to what? Y'all barely got started, and you quit for 2 months. Like,
nah,
that's not it, bro. Like I gave y'all my time, and you did one episode after you had me. That should have been your. Let's go. That should have been like, yo, let me send this link out. Let me post this. Let me clip this up. Let me add the next people from WFAN, ESPN, MLB Network, Yes Network that we want to come on, because like that's the only way to do it, man. And that's why I say don't quit on yourself. Don't second guess yourself. Once you start, you got to go, and you don't know where it's going to take you.
Right. So I know I said I had one last question. I'm actually going to disregard that, Keith and Stefan, because your last question is basically what I was going to ask, you know, any words of advice, things like that. But Keith, thank you so much. We're beyond, you know, the time frame that we originally wanted to.
Yeah, we took too much of your time, man. We gotta get. But
we appreciate it, bro. I haven't said this yet. For those of you who made it this far, thanks. Make sure you go ahead and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at 27outs3C. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and comment below, right? You know, this was huge for us, as I mentioned, Keith, at the top of the interview. Thanks again for your time. And hopefully this is something that we could eventually do at some point, you know, maybe before the year ends, sometime next year. You're a pretty busy guy. But whenever you could squeeze this
whenever
in,
you make the time, we're
you
here,
know,
brother.
even if it's for 15 minutes, bro, just know that we have no problem with it.
For sure.
Yeah, keep building. I'll keep an eye on what you guys are doing. Like I said, I appreciate the support. Y'all popping up on my lives, on my Instagram, TikTok, or whatever it may be. I just support people, man, because I was doing the same thing. I built the Nets podcast. I did multiple Yankees podcasts, and they led me into the radio. And now that I'm not doing podcasts, I do have this little setup in my crib where I'm like, all right, boom. You know, I can line it up. As long as people schedule it with me, I can line up podcast appearances, because that's just going to help somebody else. It's a way to give back. So, yeah, in a few months, I don't know, maybe we do something in, you know, as we get closer to the postseason. We're kind of at the halfway point now. Maybe we double back, and I hope to see you guys were able to book some other guests and build your following and your views and all that good stuff.
Oh, and by the way, you're going to catch us at Yankee Stadium if they make the playoffs, brother. No doubt.
Yeah, I'm there. I don't know if I'm going this week. It's hot, and they pissed me off with all the losing.
No,
so I might not be there this week, but I'm in there a lot. And like you said, I probably was running. A lot of times I'll come through. I'll do roll call, say what's up to the fam, but then like I'll have access to Legends or the suites, and I'm out. I'm going to eat, get a drink. But next time I would love to get a picture with you and give you the time. I try to take as many pictures and shake as many hands and meet people in the stadium that show me love. So looking forward to meeting you guys in person for sure.
For sure, man. For sure. We'll be at Yankee Stadium this year, especially if they make the playoffs. Oh, we in there.
They better make the playoffs. I know
We
it's
in there.
getting a little crazy right now, but their business model is not to miss the playoffs. Their business model is to get into the dance. And who knows? I said the other night, maybe this is a year where they got to go in as a wild card and get hot and everything clicks at the right time and Judge carries them. And you know what I'm saying? Like, baseball is unpredictable. So
Definitely, bro.
We'll see what happens.
Thank you so much, Keith. We appreciate it. And we look forward to doing this again sometime.
Appreciate y'all, man.